how different it was 3 weeks ago? You're now on the back of a run of 3 straight defeats. It must be a little bit of concern.
Yeah, look, when you've been in the game as long as we have, that's the one thing you take from it. You see the ups and downs, you see how quickly it can turn. And we was under no illusions 3 weeks ago that this can always happen in football. It can slap you. When you're really at the top of a peak and you think it's all going cushy and going well, yeah, it comes and wallops you in the face, but you take it on the chin. You have to. Not happy at all. Really angry at half time in particular, because I think there was a lack of responsibility being taken on the pitch, which is something, look, you can have bad performances, you can be poor on the ball, and you can have other factors that your game's not quite there, but taking responsibility and accountability is something we really pride ourselves on. As a group, talk about our values, I think I'll put that number one. And I think there was a lack of that in the first half in particular. Not just because we're behind, because of the performance, and I think that's something we won't stand for. The losses happen. Look, you can lose football matches to anything. But today, yeah, really disappointed. We wanted a big reaction after the last couple of weeks. And it wasn't quite there, and conceding a goal after 6 minutes, 7 minutes in a game obviously flattens you a little bit. But that's when you really find out about characters, and we're going to find out even more over these next few weeks. Unfortunately, we keep praise this group so much during the year, and we're not chucking the baby out with the bathwater by any means whatsoever. But we are where we are, and we've got to have a massive reaction, a massive reset. Really look at ourselves over the last 3 performances, and from the West Ham game really in general, because I think it's a good marker to go from. And we've got 2 options. We can either react in a positive way and go again, and make a successful season still, or we can accept it and we can let it peter out. And we've had a good cup run and a decent spell in the league, but that's not what we're about.
The thing is, yeah, Harriers, even though those 3 losses, still 3rd in the table.
Yeah, completely. But you go in and, like you always say, it's short term. You look at the next game, and on the back of that game there, we majorly disappointed because we don't think we've laid a glove on them today. Look, they're up there forward, we'll give them that, but I don't think they came here with anything special today. I think they'll probably admit that themselves. They came here, they were solid, they were resolute. They got a good goal at the right time, and they defended well after. I think that was about it really. I think all their chances come from us being sloppy, our mistakes, switching off, being reactive, not proactive. All these things we said when we were doing well at the start of the season, we were doing. We was anticipating things, we were sensing danger, we were sensing weakness in the opposition, and we haven't been doing that over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
You go to Spennymoor on Tuesday night aside themselves, who probably still harbour hopes of getting into the playoffs. 100%. Team on the up. They'll go there. It'll be a tough game again, like they all are. But I could say that. I say nearly every week, whatever opposition you put on the cards in interviews after a game, I say it's going to be a tough challenge. For whatever reason, maybe conditions, maybe them wanting to prove a point. At the end of the day, it's about us. And if we perform how we've been performing over the last 3 games in particular, anyone will give us a really good game. Do you know what I mean? So. It can't carry on. You can't carry on. We try and promote people taking responsibility in our change room, because we brought good characters to the club, and we've said that all along. And I think it's when it's times like this where it really stands up now. So it's up to the players. It's up to us. Look, we go away, me and Russ, and we're always going to look at ourselves. I can assure you that. But it has to be everyone in that change room at the end of the game. Well, Tuesday we go again.
Have to. No option, no choice. This is what football is. It's a grind, constant. I was saying the same things when we'd won 5 on a trot, and I'm saying the same thing now we've lost 3 on a trot. Our professionalism, our preparation has to stay there because we trust it, we believe in it, and we have all the time. We've had good moments from it so far this year, and we put them in place at the start of the season because we do believe in them. We're in a sticky patch at the minute. We know that. Supporters know it, players know it, and we know it. So it's up to us to get ourselves out of it.
Jimmy, thanks very much.
It's the $1 million question, Jim. Really. How do you go about getting the reaction that you want? Only because it's the cliche, but winning breeds confidence, doesn't it? And I guess when you're out of a routine and getting the results you want and scoring the goals and creating the chances, I guess the confidence is kind of maybe at halfway, and it's more difficult to get that, I suppose.
Look, it's the most important thing in football, any sport. Confidence. Very hard to build up, very easy to lose. We all know that. One thing I will say, when you're lacking confidence, it's important that you try and focus on your basics and do your basics well, and that's how you build that confidence up again. And I think lately, over these last 3 games in particular, it showed up where we maybe come away from them basics and we're not doing them quite as well as we were before. and you get punished when it's not happening. You get punished. The little mistakes that always happen, and then you're a goal behind and you're chasing, and it's difficult. But them small blocks that we put in place at the start of the season, in pre-season, and even in the COVID year and at the back end of the year before, we go back to that. We have to, because we're not quite doing them well enough at the minute.
And I guess, as is always going to be the case when you're on the little run like this, as long as you kind of get the performance levels back up, the results generally tend to follow, don't they?
Yeah, look, I've just said it there. It's about them small things, because they are what you can focus on. You've got to control the controllables, and we're not quite doing it at the minute. We're not quite there when the ball's going out of a play for a throw-in, that we're facing up and we're organising, we're communicating to our teammates. Not quite there. Quiet, doesn't look like us, doesn't sound like us on the pitch. But we know what makes us a good team. That's one thing I will say that's a massive positive for us. So it's our jobs now to make sure that the players are buying into that still as well, and they're understanding what makes us a good team, and I'm sure they will.